Well, hello, my friends, and happy Friday. So glad you've joined us today. Before we get started today, I'm going to ask you to join and pray for a family. Uh, One of our faithful watchers and listeners here on the Nuggets at Noon, he passed away yesterday, Mr. Billy Hoggard down in Florida. So I'm going to ask if you would pray for his family, his wife Ann, and his two boys. It's going through a difficult time. He's a friend of ours, and so please, when you think about them, pray for them. Today I want to talk about the book of James, and James individually. James was a half-brother of Jesus, and when Jesus was ministering, James was not a believer. I mean, his own brother. I mean, can you imagine your older brother saying that he's the Son of God? It's probably a natural thing that he had lack of faith at that particular time. But after Jesus' death and resurrection, James became a very strong leader in the church. In fact, Acts chapter 15 shows us that he is a leader there in the church, and so in the early church. But James, there's some unique things. The whole book, if you've never read the book of James, or if you have just read portions of it, I want to tell you it's an incredible book. In fact, some consider it the Proverbs of the New Testament, because there's so many wise sayings and wise scriptures and things that James gives to us. But it most likely was the first book of the New Testament that was written. We are told this by the commentators in the New Life Study Bible, probably the first book that was written in the New Testament, and at least 15 implied references to the Sermon on the Mount. And so there's so much here in the book of James that could be applicable for you and I today. But I want to focus our attention to the last chapter, in chapter 5, verse number 7 today. And this is what I want to leave you this week with. It says, "Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord." Be patient until the coming of the Lord. You know, there's a lot of times we tell our kids, be patient, you know, but God is telling us to be patient until the coming of the Lord. "See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand." So whatever you are facing today, whether it be trials, whether it be relational issues, or whatever it may be, I believe the Lord is telling us today, just be patient. Be patient. It's hard to be patient sometimes, isn't it? But he's telling us to be patient. And he goes on down and he says in verse number 9, "Do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing at the door." So a lot of times when, especially in relationships, that we're not patient, and we start complaining, we start arguing, we start, we have these disagreements and these frustrations. But James is telling us, don't grumble against one another. And again, he goes on down and he says, "You have heard of the steadfastness of Job, and you've seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful." So, and you know the story of Job and the struggles he had. But I simply say to you, and I leave on this Friday, the words to just be patient. Be patient. God will work on your behalf. He will be there with you, and be patient. Now, it just came to my mind where it says, "Be patient, brothers, until the coming of the Lord." Well, initially it seems like the rapture of the church, until he comes back and gets us. But I also believe that we need to be patient until he comes to our circumstance, because he sees what you're going through with. He knows what you're facing. So just be patient until he comes, because in verse number 11, the latter part, it says, "The Lord is compassionate and merciful." So if we'll be patient, he'll come to our rescue if we'll just hold fast. God bless you. Look forward to having you back here on Monday. Bye-bye.